Hey everybody, today I'm going to be going over a very simple chord progression that you can use to play almost any worship song out there. So if you're new to piano, if you're new to worship music, this lesson is going to be perfect for you because this chord progression, it's simple, it's easy to play. You can almost do it with your eyes closed once you get used to it, and you can apply it to any part of the worship song, whether it's a quiet part or a loud part, whether you're doing the verse or the bridge or the chorus. If it's just piano, if the whole band's in, this chord progression will apply to all those different parts of the worship song. And it's very simple. So I'll explain a couple things before I go into it. Have you ever wanted to learn how to play your favorite worship songs on piano? Well, I have something that's perfect for you. It's called Worship Piano Academy. It's an online space to help people of all skill levels learn to play worship piano exactly like the pros do. It's packed full of simple techniques that are easy to follow and tailored specifically for worship piano players. If you're brand new to piano, we have all the basic lessons to get you on track. If you've been playing for a while, we have tons of advanced lessons and tips for you too. So check out worshippianoacademy.com. Most worship songs follow what I call the major scale chord progression, and that follows the major scale. So if you know your major scale, we'll do this in the key of C. It's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That's the major scale. And if you walk down, it's C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. And so the major scale chord progression is we apply chords to that. And actually, I'll explain the number system real quick. You just apply numbers to that major scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And if you keep going up, it repeats that same pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And you work backwards. 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and all the way down. So we're going to use chords to follow that major scale, the major scale chord progression. Your 1 chord is a C. Your 2 chord is a minor chord. So it wouldn't be a D major, it would be a D minor. Your 3 chord would be a 1 over a 3 bass. So instead of an E or an E minor, we're actually playing a 1 chord, which is the C chord, but we're playing that third bass note that follows that major scale. So it's 1, 2 minor, 1 over 3, and then your 4 and 5 chord are just regular major chords. So that's an F chord. And then your 5 chord is a G. Your 6 chord is an A minor. And then your 7 chord is actually another slash chord. It's a 5 chord. So we hit the G, but you hit a 7 with your left hand. So it's a 5 over 7. And then your last chord is a C, and it's back to the 1. So if we speed that up a little bit, 1, 2 minor, 1 over 3, 4, 5, 6 minor, 5 over 7, and 1. So the problem with playing it like this, the chords don't really flow together, and your hand position is kind of moving all over the place. So the idea is we want to keep our hand in a fixed position with very little movement so that the chords flow very well together. And so how we're going to do that, our C chord, instead of playing it here, we're going to take this bottom C note and bring it up an octave. So we'll play that in the first inversion. So that's our first chord. Our second chord, a D minor, we're actually going to play a D minor 7, and we're going to play that in the second inversion. So here's your D minor, here would be your D minor 7, and we're not going to play that D note. And so another way to think about it, this would be an F chord over a D bass. So it'd be C, F over D, which would be a 4 over 2. And again, it's a 4 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4 is your F chord over a 2 bass. And then your third chord is a 1 over 3, so a C over E. But again, we're going to play that C up here, which is the same position as we played our first chord. So our right hand doesn't move between our 1 and our 1 over 3. And then our 4 chord is going to be F just like that, which on your right hand is the same position as you played the 2. So our 2 and our 4, our right hand doesn't move. So as of right now, we're playing 4 chords, but we're only moving our hand twice. So our right hand's only playing 2 chords. Our fifth chord is a G, and we're playing that in the second inversion. So here's how we played it originally. Second inversion, you just bring your top note down an octave. And then our 6 minor, we're going to play that as a 6 minor 7. Another way to think of a 6 minor 7 is just the C, is just the 1 chord. So here would be your A minor. Well, let's see. We played it like this. Play it in the second inversion, so we'll take our top note and bring it down an octave. So that's A minor, and we're going to play it as A minor 7, which you take your 1 note and you bring it down to the 7 note, which really is just a C chord. So another way to think of that is a 1 over a 6 bass, so 1 over 6. And remember, we're already using the C position to play our 1 over 3 and our 1. So 1 chord in your right hand can play 3 different chords by adjusting the bass note. Here's your 1, 1 over 3, 1 over 6. And then our 7 chord is remember it's a 5 over 7, but we're going to play our G in the second inversion. So we take our top note and bring it down an octave. So we'll play it like that. And then our last chord is a 1, which is where we started. We'll just bring our bass note down an octave. So that's a really good way to play these songs, and I'll go through that chord progression faster again, because your right hand is only playing 3 chords. Your C, which is your 1 chord, your 4 chord, which is an F, and then your G chord, which is a 5. So your right hand's playing 3 chords to cover all those 7 bass notes. So here's a 1, 4 over 2, 1 over 3, 4, 5, 1 over 6, 5 over 7, and a 1. And so any song that you can think of, you can add a little bit of rhythm to your right hand, and there's hardly any movement. And if you look at worship song chord charts, you'll notice that most of them follow this progression. There is some variances where there'll be some different, some other chord changes that don't follow this pattern. But if you can learn this pattern, you can play most of the worship songs out here. And then the fingering that you use with your right hand, you want to keep the same fingers on the same shared notes as possible. So like if we're going to go from a C to a G, well, your second finger is already on that G note, so you want to keep that there. And then all you're going to have to do, your pinky is on the top note, and so what you're going to do is position your open fingers between the free notes that are in between those chords. So from a C to a G, your G note's going to stay there, and then your 2 fingers, the top and bottom, are going to move. So that's the position that you're going to play between a C and a G. And if you go to a F to a C, you're only moving those 2 notes because your pinky is already on the C, which is the shared note between the F and the C. And then playing between F and G, there are no shared notes. But you can see I'm using the open fingers to play the off chords. And so I have my second and fourth finger open, which I'm going to use to play those 2 notes when I make that switch. And so if you use the correct fingering when you're playing these chords, it's going to help you transition when you go to other keys, because we're playing this in the key of C. If we go to D, you use the same fingers. Go to E, or F, or G, and A, and B, we go to the sharps and flats, we'll start in C sharp. And then E flat. And then F sharp. We'll move down here. And then G sharp. And then B flat. And so if you play around with that, it's really going to help you make the different transitions if you're jumping between keys. And try to practice without actually looking at the piano, because you have these anchor notes that are shared between the chords. And so you just kind of close your eyes and then work your fingers back and forth between the chord changes. Keep the shared note finger on that note. And if you're going between C and G, or F and C, like that. And then F and G don't have any shared notes, but it's a good practice tip to just kind of practice through those. And just try to get your fingers used to making those transitions, because again, when you move to other keys, your finger memory will be there and it'll be much easier to make those transitions. So another good exercise you can do to help you build finger strength as you're moving through these chord changes is do this kind of triad movement where you start from the bottom and you hit one note at a time and go up and down that chord. So it would sound like this. And another way you can do it is start from the top and then go down and up. So it would sound like this. And then another way you can do it is start in the middle and then go down and up. So it would sound like this. And then we'll do it one last time where we start in the middle and we'll start going up and then back down. So it goes like this. And so a couple of different ways that you can just play that, work around with the different arpeggios, starting from the bottom and the top and the middle and working your way up and down. And it's really going to help build finger strength. And you'll be able to apply that to all these different sections of the songs, whether it's the verse or the chorus or the bridge. And it's really going to help your playing. So work on that, and then I'll see you in the next video.